The colossal span of Antharion sprawled through the abyss of space like a grand tapestry of civilization. Keir, a seasoned investigator, stood in the observational vault at the heart of the city, absently watching the lights of the outer zones twinkling in the vast expanse. Keir was grizzled and grey, a relic of an earlier time. His upbringing in the central zones imprinted an Earth-like understanding of reality onto his mindset. Time flowed linearly, causality reigned supreme. The outer zones, with their disruptive deviations from Earth's norms, disoriented him. Yet here he stood, weathered by the eons of rewoven human history, gazing upon the enigmatic expanse of the city he was about to plunge into. News of Elara's disappearance had sent ripples through the central zones. To those familiar with Antharion's chronicles, Elara was a pivotal figure. Her wisdom was ageless, her heart aligned with progress. When she left for the outer zones, citing research, and never returned, the central zones were crippled with worry. Keir held a special reverence for Elara. She nurtured his sense of justice, his yearning for knowledge. Her absence gnawed at his spirit, and so he set his resolve to locate her. His ship whisked him smoothly towards the outer zones, leaving behind the comfortable familiarity of the central regions. His senses registered the shift as he crossed into the boundary sectors, where the cityscape began rendering exotic innovations of humanity's future. Quantum orchards pulsated with coded fruit bearing encrypted knowledge. Nanobot swarms floated like atmospheric ballets. Skyscrapers morphed and twisted along with the intellectual revolutions of the citizenry. To his left, a building faded into iridescence before reincarnating as a vertical jungle of luminescent biobricks. To his right, a swirling mass of metallic liquid rapidly assembled and dissembled into various useful structures. Spectacles of sensory bizarreness unfurled around him with every passing cluster. Keir had relied on a different skill set back in the recognizable world of the central zones: baseline logic, rational deduction, and basic human insight. But reasoning in the outer zones choreographed to a different rhythm. His senses heightened. He sniffed out patterns in kaleidoscopic virtuality, listened to resonating infratech frequencies, tasted the qualia-infused air for traces of Elara. Every clue retrieved tugged him deeper towards the unknown. Scuttling through a synaptic marketplace, he found Elara's energy signature encrypted in a data fruit, tasting of transient poetry and cosmic riddles. It was infused with strange, foreboding remarks about echoes from Earth's downfall. He frowned, a feeling of uncanniness crawling up his spine. Were these coded pleas or mere philosophical muses? In another sector, he uncovered an AI simulacrum of an archaic detective's office. A whimsical terrain Elara savored whenever her queries grappled with the nature of human intuition. A blurred holographic figure cited unintelligible phrases about a map, a fleeting spectre from the ancient world. Some instinct within Keir awakened. His intuition screamed that all this formed fragments of a larger mosaic, portents pointing the way through the cloak of obfuscity. As he delved further, anomalies ruptured the splendid monotony. Occasional citizens bore faces renowned from history, but wrapped in unfamiliar attire and purpose. Temporal designations seemed absurd, morphing fluidly as he plunged deeper. His seasoned investigator's gut felt the terrain of causal certainty slipping beneath him. The trail was growing colder, or rather, stranger. Intuition and confusion wrestled within Keir as he stared out of his ship's window, the twinkling lights of the zones becoming denser and more elusive. In the endless sprawl of Antharion, a beacon of hope came in an unexpected form. A child with liquid crystal eyes handed him an encrypted cryptex. "From the echoes," he said, dissipating into the flux around them. It took days of decrypting the device to reveal the truth. A holomap towards the heart of the outer zones. A hesitative chill crept up Keir's spine as he contemplated the twisting trajectory further into the enigmatic outer zones. Back in the central regions, solving cases required connecting shots in a dark room. This was different. Could he navigate this realm of unfettered human imaginings and wildcard realities? Distant constellations twinkled as if nodding in silent solidarity. His mind, in sync with the pulsating engines of his ship, echoed the same phrase over and over: "Find Elara." In fits of pulsating lights, he pushed deeper into the labyrinthine expanse, where time and space crisscrossed to the tunes of a cryptic cosmos. Keir's ship danced through the interflow of Antharion's outmost zones. With each pulse of its quantum engine, the vessel dove through sectors of uncanny cityscape, each more surreal than the last. Bioluminescent landscapes bloomed with prismatic architecture, while neighboring sectors shimmered with shifting temporal hues. Advances in technology, philosophy, and even human nature seemed to proliferate with every glance he dared upon the kaleidoscopic panorama. Here, snowdrifts of stardust precipitated down towers brushing against the murmuring auroras above, while elsewhere, gardens sang in polyphonic synchrony to the ballet of the celestial bodies. Capricious physics reknit the waxing and waning cityscape in a technological fantasia spun of human whims and ambitions. Keir needed to keep moving, but often found himself transfixed by spectacles unfurling around him. He watched in mute fascination as quantum rainbows refracted knowledge directly into minds, witnessed the quiet communion between humans and inscrutable biomechatronic organisms, encountered AIs mining the raw edges of the universe for burgeoning possibilities. It was in the midst of this riot of revelation and progress that Keir Inspector-turned-Pilgrim found the next clue. A parabolic tower, cradling a glistening quantum singularity in its zenith, held not mere spectacle, but the energy signature he was tracking. Elara's signature was woven into the singularity, where codes of quantum physics danced with those of philosophy and art, spun together as a testament. The nebulous fabric of data whispered cryptic murmurs into Keir's trained cognition. It echoed with fragmented phrases. Earth's spectre. Echoes amplified. Within the cryptic whispers, part of a virtual address peeked out, a clue only an expert eye could discern. Back within his ship, the next leg of his journey etched out on his navigational matrix. Keir exhaled a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Each step forward felt like a leap, a dive into an enigmatic abyss. The journey carried him to the outermost zones, where he witnessed the crescendo of Antharion's metamorphosis. Here, the fabric of space wasn't merely an inert canvas, but collaborated with the city, birthing realities that even the most imaginative residents of the central zones could never dream of. Here, technosophic miracles echoed with uncanny familiarity, yet not yet disconcerting otherness, prophesying a humanity far stranger than Keir had ever dared to contemplate. Under the gaze of infinity, against a backdrop of nebulae and quasars, Keir found himself standing before a semi-tangible archway. The arch, pulsating, morphing constantly, resonated with the encoded phrase from the quantum singularity, echoes, Earth's fall. It was the entrance to the clandestine sanctum of the archivists, the keepers of the untold history of Antharion, and ultimately, the unspoken truth of humanity's great leap off Mother Earth. Despite the bravura of the outer zones, an uncanny sense of foreboding hung in the air as Keir crossed the threshold. Just as every clue had been a doorway into deeper enigmas, the archivists themselves were keepers of the profoundest secret, one that would shatter the very foundation of Keir's understanding. Traversing deeper into their cavernous library of illicit knowledge, with burning anticipation pounding in his veins, Keir prepared himself for the ominous revelation to come. The air within the archivist's sanctum was thick with clandestine truths and forbidden knowledge. Keir's heart beat with a rigidity accustomed to the firmer reality of earthly norms, yet his instincts dared him to brace for whatever awaited. An archivist, etched in silhouette against the sentient petroglyphs, turned to him, cyborg eyes piercing through millennia of encrypted truth. As the archivist neared, Keir discerned her name, Cyandra, chronoscribe of the Great Archive. Cyandra guided Keir deeper into the labyrinthine sanctum. Along labyrinthian shelves, quantum texts inked in time, space and thought, fluxed with sentient narratives. The breadth of modes was dizzying, only adding to Keir's unease. Their journey terminated at a colossal holographic model, pulsating with the heartbeat of Antharion's history. Point by point, from the central zones to the furthest reaches of the outer zones, iridescent trails marked the city's expansion, each light a timeline in hyperdetail. The endless sprawl of Antharion is not expanding, but rather looped infinitely, Cyandra proclaimed, her voice echoing in the hushed expanse of the archive. Keir blinked, watched. As Cyandra magnified the outer zones on the holograph, he saw it, the overlapping echoes of districts, the fractal townships, city patterns that somehow began to superimpose, mirror, and repeat. No less strange were the occasional disruptions in the loops, fractured echoes indicating something less natural, less predictable. Humanity's last gambit back on Earth ended disastrously, Cyandra continued. Attempting to harness dark energy, we created a cosmic anomaly. It trapped our physical realm, Antharion, within a space-time distortion. The city, spiraling inward upon itself, wore a tapestry of warped time, each knot indicated by the map's spiraling interface points. It was an existential Möbius strip, ever expanding but always involuting on itself. Keir felt the foundations of his understanding crack. So the outer zones aren't advanced because they're farther from Earth. No, Cyandra confessed, a tinge of cosmic melancholy in her gaze. They're advanced because they exist later in time, spun into existence by the rapid cycling of the space-time loop. His journey through the outer cityscape echoed back at him, all the surreal wonders, the uncanny kaleidoscope of future human progressions. He journeyed through fluxing time, not space. Time dilation caused by the space-time distortion knotted the realities together, fashioning existence into a cyclical, spiraling labyrinth. For a seasoned investigator whose resolution was second nature, Keir found himself staggering under the metaphysical maelstrom. Elara's cryptic whispers converged in his mind like harmonics of some elder tune. But it was no time for existential contemplation. His mission remained: find Elara, whose beacon he had been unwittingly following, not through the vastness of space, but through the echoes of the past, through the forgiveness of time. Around him, the archive spoke in tongues of past, present, and future, whispering their sibilant, entwining secrets into Keir's mind. Eyes closing, Keir willed himself to perceive the patterns within those whispers and to trace the spiraling echoes back to their origin. The silent gasp of the cosmos when Earth fell and humanity made its leap into the cosmic beyond. Keir exited the sanctum, his mind filled with echoes of the revelation. He felt unmoored, a traveller lost at cosmic sea. His ship, in its hibernating perch, hummed to life as the cold, distant stars blinked down at him. The glyphs of truth etched into his mind cast a menacing luminescence against the vast labyrinth of Antharion. Now, as he maneuvered through the mind-bending sectors, each site held a profound new meaning. AI-dense sector hubs, morphing with unpredictable cultural shifts, dotted now with overlaid echoes of time's curvature, entire districts defined by the imprint of each cyclical loop. Every pulsating district reiterated the same haunting truth. Antharion was not marching towards the cosmic horizons, but forever chasing its own tail in a looping spiral dance. The citizens he saw, running, living, creating, seemed oblivious to the infinite loop they were caught in. Each time-shifted echo of humanity held a tragically distorted mirror to the essence of Earth, innovating, evolving, and dreaming in ceaseless cycles of time's forgery. Painful reflections lit up on his path. Faces from Earth days, grown older or younger by the echoing cities, or those caught in the temporal loop. Keir's breath hitched at the sight of a child mimic from the central zones, now a seasoned elder, his liquid crystal eyes holding centuries rather than mere years. Familiar places twisted by the time diorama mocked his recollections, turning beloved memories into perplexing riddles. Despite the kaleidoscopic confusion, Keir found his bearings by focusing on the singular task at hand, tracing Elara's energetic signature. Her imprint grew stronger the closer he got, the code within the quantum fabric of the cityscape pulsating in harmony to the frequency he'd been tracking. The color of her wisdom stitched into the shifting topography. The dread in his heart deepened as he edged nearer to his destination. He found himself in a cityscape where skyscraping monuments floated like thought balloons, telling tales of civilizations yet to be born in the central zones. Individuals walked as multiple avatars, living multiple, parallel lives in a complex tapestry of experiences. Yet each breathtaking sight, each disconcerting encounter, marked a distinct footfall on the path Elara had traversed into the heart of the echo. In the midst of these fluctuating realities, an uncanny spiral structure loomed into view. It echoed the infinity form, time forking into a multitude of pathways within its swirling interior. Its fluxing surface bore Elara's crisp signature. Here began the final leg of his journey, a plunge into the temporal kaleidoscope, the heart of Antharion's echo, Elara's last known location. Keir docked his vessel, his mind brimming with silent prayers, heady with the responsibility he'd undertaken. His heart pounded like a war drum, marking each beat with an echoing resound, a defiant cadence in the face of the baffling truth and the chilling unknown that lay before him. The echo heart spiraled before Keir, the vortex's mouth yawning like a wound in the fabric of reality itself. He stepped through the entrance, his pulse quickening as the familiar world blurred into cascading threads of time. There, amidst the helixing tendrils of space-time, Keir discerned a figure. Elara, he recognized, stood suspended as if woven into the living loom of time itself. He approached. With every step closer, the Elara he had known seemed to shapeshift in age and form, a living collage of past, present, and future. He halted before her vibrant form, his investigator's gaze now meeting the ageless wisdom in Elara's eyes. "Keir," she sighed, her voice the harmony of the echo unraveling. "You've come, you've found me." "But why?" Keir gasped, struggling to piece together the date-stamped Elara standing before him. Her form flickered like a flame. "Why would you risk all of this?" "The space-time echo needed to break," Elara explained, gesturing around at the disconcerting phenomena. "The cosmic anomaly preventing our expansion trapped us in a revolving door of our own making. But every loop in time creates an opportunity." With a nod towards the cityscape rippling in the distance, she elaborated. As the city perpetually cycled, the forces trapped in the time anomaly began to weaken, unsubstantial enough to grant us a chance at creating a breach. "And you," Keir breathed, "you've aged." Elara smiled, a wistful calm in her gaze. "Each cycle through the time loop results in rapid aging. I knew the consequences. I chose this, Keir. I accepted my sacrifice for the chance to restore our freedom from the loop." She gestured at the swirling vortex encapsulating them. "You were following my breadcrumbs through the city. You were tracing the echo not through space, but through time." A hush fell between them. Keir wavered, piecing together the chain of elusive clues, the jigsaw falling into place. He'd been led here not as a rescuer, but as an instrument in breaking the echo. "But why me?" Keir murmured as Elara reached out to him, her touch transient like the quantum rainbows of the outer zone. "You programmed the foundational code of this city, Keir," Elara confessed softly. "In you lies the seed of Antharion's creation. The energy encoded within you can help destabilize the strain of the anomaly, dismantle the echo, and break free from this cyclic reality." His mind echoed with the coded whispers of forgotten days. The truth, clearer and bitterer, dawned upon him. This was much larger than him, larger than Elara, larger than even Antharion. With a solemn nod, Keir agreed. His edge of breakthrough excitement vied with the stark realization of their shared responsibility. Together, they activated the original code ingrained in his existence, manipulating the space-time anomaly into ejecting Antharion out of the echo. As the spatial matrix shattered around them, heralding the end of the echo, Keir watched his life's journey break its shackles of perennial history, gazing at a horizon free of the confines of the cyclical past. Their mission, fraught with danger and uncertainty, shook Antharion out of its cosmic reverberation and opened a path towards an unhindered tomorrow. Under the newborn gaze of liberated constellations, Keir stood at the doorstep of an unlooped reality, the taste of a linear future finally at his and humanity's grasp. In the echo of a broken anomaly, a new dawn eagerly awaited Antharion's leap into true cosmic infinity.